My dear friends, I am actually humbled by the fact that anyone actually listens to my recorded messages. But if you're going to listen to any of my talks, this is the one I hope and pray resonates with you. This is it. Tomorrow evening is Pesach, the night of the first Seder. I know many of you, like me, will have a very different Pesach holiday this year. But there is one constant that will not change. I will not permit this year's circumstances to change it for me, and I hope and pray you will not permit this pandemic to change it for you, no matter what. There's a biblical mitzvah to rejoice on the Chag. V'samachta b'chagecha v'hayita ach sameach. You shall rejoice on the holiday and be especially happy. We are commanded by the Torah to be happy, to rejoice. All of you know this halacha all too well. If God forbid someone dies on the eve of Pesach or any of the biblical holidays, all mourning practices are suspended because we are obligated to rejoice with the community. This year as well, we may not be in the hotel we had planned, or with family as in years past, or even with those closest to us. But we must nevertheless dig deep into ourselves, into our soul, and find the joy and happiness in the holiday. My friends, we celebrate the birth of our nation. We celebrate our relationship with the Ribono Shel Olam, with Hashem. This is the essence of the holiday, and there is no better reason to celebrate and be happy and joyous. V'samachta b'chagecha. How can we not rejoice? My dear friend and member of our synagogue's board, Fred Lalzarzadeh, called me on Friday and said to me, "Rabbi, now I understand what the Jewish people must have experienced the night of Pesach in Egypt. As the last and final plague of death was visited upon the Egyptian nation, the Jewish people were told to stay home. Ve'atem lo teitzeu ish mipetach beito. No man shall leave his house. Outside the home was terror, fear, and death." Yes, indeed, I told Mr. Lalzarzadeh, that is exactly what they experienced and what we too are experiencing. On that first Seder night in Egypt, some 3,300 years ago, Moshe Rabbeinu did not brag about bringing down the Egyptian empire to its knees. He did not discuss the philosophical meaning of freedom. He didn't even mention the land of Israel. Rather, he introduced the Jewish people to a loving, caring, and compassionate God, the God of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Moshe Rabbeinu pointed to the matzah and the Korban Pesach and repeated 3 times, "Make sure you educate your children. Teach them who they are, where they come from, and where they are going. Vehigadta lebincha, and you shall teach your children." 3 times Moshe Rabbeinu repeated those words. Moshe Rabbeinu understood more than anyone else that the happiness Hashem instructed us to feel does not emerge from any external factor, not even the newly found freedom. External sources of happiness are fleeting. Pure, unadulterated happiness comes from within us. The ability to notice the existence of happiness is reason enough to rejoice. Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha. We serve Hashem with joy, great joy. Allow me to share with you an outrageous teaching of our Chachamim. The Talmud asks the question, under what circumstances did the blessing Hatov ve'hametiv emerge. Hatov ve'hametiv is a bracha said in the Birkat Hamazon, where we thank God for the goodness and His continuous goodness. Notice the words, Hatov ve'hametiv. Now, if I were asked that question, I could come up with countless events in our history that are examples of God's goodness to the Jewish people and to the world. Our sages, on the other hand, tell us that the blessing Hatov ve'hametiv was introduced as a response to the Roman massacre at Beitar, when the streets of Jerusalem flowed like rivers with Jewish blood. Our sages tell us in Masechet Ta'anit that God made a miracle, that the bodies of the dead did not decay on the streets. And when the time came that they were permitted to be buried, the bodies were whole. From here, from a massacre, emerges the blessing, Hatov ve'hametiv. What an outlook. What a world view. Our great Chachamim always saw the positive in everything. As they looked upon the countless dead, they asked, what good came from this and what good will come from this? The loftiest joy emerges from the humblest of places. Rabbi Adin Steinzelz teaches that the Jewish holidays revert us back to our original condition as a people, to the earliest times in our history when we had nothing substantial, only the promise of a better tomorrow. That promise is reason enough for great joy. We owe it to ourselves, to our loved ones, to remain positive. Nothing will stop us from fulfilling the mitzvah deoraita, the biblical commandment, v'samachta b'chagecha, to rejoice on our holiday. I ask that you please listen to me carefully. You can go through the motions tomorrow night, but without the spirit of joy and deep felt happiness, your efforts will be wanting. So tomorrow night, when you hold up your first of 4 glasses of wine, go deep into your soul and smile and laugh and rejoice on a cosmic level, because there is one thing for certain. After this is all over, we will be better and we will be stronger. Chag Sameach, my dear friends. Love to all.